the lane, 15-10, touchdown Chargers! What's up, guys? Welcome into a Week 12 edition of Chargers Weekly. Thanksgiving week, as always, joined by Matt Money Smith. Money, let me be the first to wish you a happy Thanksgiving, bud, on this Wednesday as we tape this.
Not me. Whatever. Try to take the moral high ground and wish me a Thanksgiving first. Happy Thanksgiving first. Yes, we are thankful sincerely to all of you that podcast and listen and interact with us. We have a good time doing this podcast every week, and we really appreciate all of you listening to it. We hope it's entertaining, and truly, we thank you for all of your support, and hope you all have a great holiday weekend, extended holiday weekend. It's my favorite holiday of the year. It's not even close. I love it. I eat. I hang out with my family. You know, for people like me who have kids at college, it's them coming back for the first time since they left for the first semester, so it's always pretty special. And yeah, very excited, very thankful, and I mean that sincerely for all of you people that support the Chargers, that support us. We really are thankful for you, and we truly can't thank you enough. And whatever, Chris, hope you have an okay Thanksgiving.
Hey, I echo all of that. You guys are the best. We've been keeping
you see
this
that?
rolling.
You wish me a happy Thanksgiving, and then I get the high ground by wishing the listeners the happy Thanksgiving. Yeah. I win.
You end up winning in the end. You end up winning, and I have to echo those sentiments.
And now when you say that, I'm stuck with the Teen Wolf song at the end when Michael J. Fox is taking on the Dragons. Win in the end. You gotta win in the end. There you go. Hell of a montage, people. Check it out.
Oh my God. You know what? That's a Thanksgiving movie. That's a movie you could watch on like a Friday, you know?
Why not?
Why not?
Why not? It makes perfect sense. A guy turns into a wolf, starts playing basketball, and all the students in the stands, they don't react whatsoever. They're just like, oh, this is normal. We're not going to run away because this wolf is going to bite my throat out. No, I'm just going to sit and see how this plays out. Makes perfect sense.
I encourage our listeners to watch Teen Wolf before the Chargers play the Cardinals on Sunday.
There you go.
And report back. Maybe getting Money's replies and share your favorite parts of the movie.
And this is the 80s Teen Wolf, by the way, not the reboot, not Teen Wolf 2 with Bateman, not Teen Wolf the series on Netflix. No, the original
with Fox.
It is easily, I'm trying to think if I can come up with another one. It is the worst athletic performance by an actor in the history of film. Like, Michael J. Fox can't dribble. He can't shoot. Like, you would think that he was launching half-court shots with his free throw form. Like, he's jumping like a foot off the ground and shoving the ball toward the basket when he's taking his free throws. It's hilarious. All right, sorry. Tangent to get us started.
Put it on your holiday viewing list, whether it's Thanksgiving or Christmas.
Exactly.
Hey, we're going to get into Chargers Cardinals this Sunday. Huge game for the Chargers, but we always start with what happened last week, and we'll just rewind a few days, Money. This has been the theme throughout this Chargers-Chiefs series over the last several years. Chargers so close, yet they can't figure out how to beat Kansas City. And 146 was, I guess, a little bit too much time for Patrick Mahomes. Joshua Palmer scores, but Mahomes and Travis Kelce connect on their third touchdown of the evening. And the Chargers lose 30-27, man. It seems like a lot of the same here the last few years.
Yeah, it's followed the pattern. I think that's what's so frustrating is in every single one of each of these last three games, the Chargers have a game plan. They execute it in the first half. They build a lead, a double-digit lead, and it disappears. And then they retake the lead late, and they lose the game. And that's been the pattern. So when you go through it and you try to figure out why is this happening, unfortunately for the Chargers, it followed the same script from the majority of the season. And that is great second quarter, horrible third quarter. And, I think we had Tom Telesco on yesterday, and I never want to call out specific plays because I think then you're just trying to assign blame, like, hey, why did this happen on this play? So I just said, hey, when you go back and watch, are there ever plays that you look at and you're like, man, that's the one? And I was like, I'm not saying a win or a loss comes down to one play, but there are certain plays in games when you're like, that's the one right there. And for me, that was the end of the first half. And you've got a second, and it's less than a yard. It's second and like maybe a foot. A yard is 3 feet. It looked like it was really close to that 1 yard line, so I'd say it was probably second and a foot. They were super effective with the quarterback sneak all day, and they run a pitch to Austin, and it goes for a loss of 3, and they can't convert the third down, and they settle for 3. That's a 4-point swing right there. And I just felt like, man, and I said it in the moment on the broadcast. I was like, DJ, I hope that does not come back, because, man, that just is such a missed opportunity. You've got your timeouts. You've got 35 seconds. First downs, not touchdowns. That is a first down, not touchdown. I get it. You liked the look. You thought you caught him. First down, man. You got a first and goal from inside the 1. Just go get it. And that was a tough one. And I think, I bring up that play because then the third quarter got away from them again. It's a 3 and out, and it's a punt on a 4th and inches or a 4th and 1 from their own 34, something like that. So it's kind of why I bring up that particular play, because then you're up 11 instead of 7, and I just feel like Chiefs had a little bit of momentum maybe going into the half, like, ooh, dodged the bullet there. And, I think the thing to remember is people maybe get frustrated by these games is Chiefs do this to everyone. They're the best team in the league right now, and there's a reason. We're not alone. You are not alone. It is every single team that plays the Chiefs that pulls their hair out, because that's just how good Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and Travis Kelce are. They just, you know what's coming, and I'll be damned if no team in the league can stop it. It's just, it's one of those things, and it is not exclusive to the Chargers. It is universal in the National Football League that this is what happens when you give Patrick. The Bills gave him 13 seconds in the AFC divisional round last year. 13 seconds, and he figured it out. He's just that good.
No team in the division has ever stopped it. Patrick Mahomes is undefeated on the road in the division. It's
crazy.
It's never happened. Yeah. Like, no team has ever solved this riddle. And I want to share this stat because it goes in line with what you just talked about, that play. Our PRA, Danny Marketo, sent this to me. Over the last 2 weeks, weeks 10 and 11, Justin Herbert has recorded a rushing first down on 3rd and 1 or less 5 times, and that leads all players in the NFL, not just quarterbacks. Yeah. I mean, you look at you got Herbert at 1, Zeke at 2 with 4, and then Hurts, Henry, Brian Robinson, Rashad White with 3. So it's funny too, because like with Phillip, that would never happen.
Well, that's what I think is that's what plays into it too for me, is there's some scar tissue there. Yeah. Is Phillip refused to quarterback sneak. He said that he didn't like getting hit. He didn't like having his hands in that mess. It felt like guys were always grabbing at his fingers and twisting them and stuff, and he just refused to do it. And it would drive me crazy, because it's like, dude, I stand next to you on the plane. Like, I know what you look like. You are 6'6", freaking 225 pounds. Get your nose in there and get a freaking yard. And so now that they have a guy that's built similarly and is willing to do it and is really good at it, it's frustrating when they don't do it, because it's like, it works. It works. You can't stop. You have your 2 best players on offense, Corey Linsley, Justin Herbert. They're right there. They are connected on this, and they're going to get it. And now with, the advent of, we're not going to throw a flag for running backs pushing you in the back to get the extra yard, it can't be stopped. It can't be stopped. And it's really frustrating when they go away from that when it's 3rd and less than a yard. I'll never understand that.
So, the play for me, Money, that I go to is that I think it was Kelce's second touchdown, that drive. Yeah. A 3rd and 17. That 3rd and 17 that gets converted. And I get it. We talked about this on the podcast last Thursday, how good Kansas City is on 3rd down.
Yeah.
But 3rd and 17 can't happen, and I don't care if it's Patrick Mahomes or whoever. 3rd and 17, you got to get off the field and get your offense back on it. And that was just, I think, one example of the second half that allowed the Chiefs to keep that drive going. Also, at the beginning of the second half, just Pacheco. I mean, that guy was getting like 9 yards easy every single carry. I think he ended up with like 7 yards a pop. They ran the ball like 5 straight times at the start of the second half. And it's just one of those things we talked about on Monday, where the Chargers, their bugaboo has been stopping the run all season long. And even the Chiefs, as explosive as they are, recognized that and took time out of this game to really just give the ball to Pacheco and let him do his thing.
Well, I think that's, the thing about that too is, and I'm going to pull up, if people are watching on the YouTube, I'm going to that 3rd and 17 because I'm trying to refresh my memory on because I can't remember. I felt like someone was there. I felt like there was someone there that was about to make the sack, and somehow he escaped. That's why I couldn't see it, because that's the wrong Charger game.
It was 3rd and 17
here it is.
at the KC 7.
Yeah. So I'm pulling up right now. Yeah, all the way back at the 7. So they've got 4. They rush 4. Mahomes has all kinds of time, and so that's this is, again, look, this is one of my great issues. If there's one thing that you don't want to do, it's give that kind of look. I know it's not Travis Kelce. I think it was Gray. Was it Noah Gray, or was it Fortson? I think it was Fortson. Or no, it was Justin Watson.
It was Watson. Yeah.
Yeah, Justin Watson, the Penn Quaker. So he's being checked by Mikey, I think, right? And he does a little bit of motion into the slot. Dude, Mikey is lined up at the first down. It's like, dude, they're at the 7, and Mikey is set up at the 20. Like, I get it. Justin Watson's good. I remember watching the Penn Brown game, and I came out of that going, ooh, I just saw an NFL player on an Ivy League game when we played the Patriots, and we were staying in Rhode Island. And I remember coming out of that game, and I was like, dude, this guy, Justin Watson, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back as some sort of scout, but he was just so much better than everybody on the field. I was like, oh, I saw an NFL player today. And it's funny how that works when you watch like Ivy League football. There tends, if there's someone that's going to make the league, they're so much better than everybody else on the field because they're Ivy League players, and very few of them are going to the league. But like, I'm watching, I'm rewinding it now. So at the snap, Mikey is standing at the 17. And by the time they snap the ball, he's already backpedaled to the 20. And you've got 2 high safeties. Derwin is at the 25. Nas Adderley is at the 30. What are we doing? It is a 3rd and 17. What are we doing? Like, I just don't get it. It's again, there's just too many of these where they get them off schedule, and they have these incredible cushions of trying to keep people in front of them. And like, truly, I'm looking at it. Mikey is 4 yards behind Watson when he makes that reception at the first down marker. And they ended up they needed 17, and they ended up getting 26. Yeah. Like, it's just, I'm with you, dude. It is very frustrating. It's not Tyreek Hill. It's not Tyreek Hill.
No, he's not on the roster. He's not on the roster there.
It's Justin Watson, who was waived by the Bucs and picked up by the Chiefs. And he burned the Chargers in week 2 for a touchdown like that too. It's like, why is that guy getting a 15-yard cushion? What, you can't man that guy up? You kidding me? And look, it's the call, right? I think they're playing quarters on that. But it just, again, frustrating. I thought in that Atlanta game, and even in the San Francisco game, they were just much more aggressive in their coverage, much more aggressive, blitzing, making sure they pressed a lot more. That drives me. I'm with you, Chris. It's a little frustrating to see that sort of respect for a receiver like that just has to catch the ball and fall forward to pick up 26 yards.
Yeah. It was a 10-play, 86-yard drive. The first play of the fourth quarter was the Travis Kelce 32-yard touchdown. And that, again, the Chargers had the lead going into the fourth quarter in back-to-back Sunday Night Football games against 2 playoff teams. And
right. They're playing good enough.
They played good enough until the end. And this is what I contend, though. If this team wants to catapult itself into the playoffs and show that they're a playoff team, with a minute 46 to go, and I get you. Listen, we just went through all of it. Patrick Mahomes does this to everybody, but you got to get a stop. You got to show the league that you are a playoff caliber team.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the 5 wins, none of those teams are making the playoffs. Maybe the Falcons by default in the NFC South, but the other 4 teams aren't making the playoffs.
No, I like your silver lining though, Chris. Like, I think that's important for people, to remember. Like, they're in these games. They are not getting blown off the field by the 49ers like the Cardinals were, like the Rams did. They're not getting blown off the field by the Chiefs.
They're close.
Yes, like so many other teams are. Like, they're hanging in there. They just need to execute. Like, and that's what I think gets people really frustrated is okay, you've got this. The defense has played good enough to put them into a 3rd and 17. To force a penalty, to get a sack, to put them in this down and distance. Just execute it. You've certainly got the personnel because you've proven you got the personnel. So I think that's what can get frustrating. Is they're good enough to get these teams off schedule, to get a tackle for loss, to force a holding penalty with a pass rush, to put them in these disadvantaged situations, and they're not able to just pay it off. And I think that's what gets frustrating. It happened against the 49ers. There were way too many 3rd and longs that were converted. And it's like, just keep doing what you're doing, man. Do what you do to get you to 3rd and 17. Don't adjust and have 2 high safeties 5 yards beyond the first down marker. Like Tyreek Hill's not out there. He's not going to blow by someone and get a 93-yard touchdown. So that's what I think is just sort of the frustrating part of that particular play as you bring it up.
What did you think of the Chargers offense and kind of how they started the game?
It's great. Started the game exceptional. I mean, it was just like, oh, okay, yeah, this is what it looks like. This is what it's like.
Yeah.
Yeah, when Mike and Keenan are out there and Josh Palmer's the 3rd guy and he's able to take advantage and get that 50-yard touchdown because, he's got the 3rd best corner on him. Keenan made a couple, obviously the long grab that set up the touchdown was exceptional. But he, the thing for Keenan is just, picking up, like even that first catch he had. Oh, yeah, it's for a first down. It's 3rd down, first down. Yeah. Perfect. That's what we want. Mikey's toe tap is exactly Mike Williams, that's what he does. So that was great. But it's just, I think it's, again, frustrating in the second half to see how they kind of go away from a lot of the stuff that's working. And I know a lot of that is the pass protection was breaking down, and it was, the Chiefs had kind of figured something out. Frank Clark really came alive in that second half. So did Chris Jones. So it just kind of changes what you're able to do. But it just felt like they went away with some of the stuff that was working. The play action, setting up the big explosive plays like they had in the first half. It felt like they went away from that. And granted, they only had 2 drives in the third quarter again for, 6 plays? 3, because they got 1 first down on the 1 drive. So, I think it was like 8 or 9 plays is all they had. They had a 4-minute time of possession advantage at the end of the half, and by the end of the third quarter, it was dead even. Like, that's how bad the third quarter went for them.
Third quarter's been brutal, and the last 2 weeks, 7 points in the second half combined. And we went through this stretch before Monday where they were just so bad in the first quarter, and
I know, right?
They fixed that problem, but yet we still have this second half issue. You can't score 7 points in the second half against the Chiefs and expect to win. I think I was talking to Eric Williams at halftime. We were looking at the score. It's like, you probably need 34. You probably need 34 to win this game. Like, you can't expect.
Yeah, that was always Gus's, when Gus was here, he had a 28. You got to get above 28. He said, I think it's very hard to keep the Chiefs under 7 points a quarter. So just assume they're going to be able to do that. He's like, so to beat this team, you're going to have to get at least 29 from your offense. That's what you're going to have to notch. And hey, what was it? The Chargers scored 27. There you go.
Yeah.
So it's. Yeah, again, I think it's right there, man. Just like it was last year on the Thursday Night Football game, right there. And you just think about how much different the season looks when you knock the Chiefs off. And, you either last year they would have got the season sweep. This year they would have got the split, been just a game behind them with a real favorable part of the schedule coming up. These 2 back-to-backs against the Cardinals that are certainly struggling. And obviously there's a lot going on there right now.
Oh, yeah.
With some players sort of, this is all the sort of message board, social media crap, but just people not happy with Kyler Murray still out with that hamstring, what the hell's his problem kind of stuff. And then you've got the coach that just got let go, second one this year. Cliff Kingsbury, even though he just signed that deal, reportedly the ownership's not happy with him. So you got a lot going wrong out there that you just got, and not to mention all the injuries. Hollywood Brown is out. I think 3/5 of Hernandez is out. Hudson is out. Their offensive line is decimated. So that's the good news. Is
4 offensive line starters.
Exactly. So you just got to take advantage of that. And that's the great thing is I do think it's set up for the Chargers. They got to go 5-2, and I think it sets up favorably for them. Their tough opponents are at home, not on the road. So you'd like to, hey, I know Miami and Tennessee are really good, but we get them here. So advantage Chargers on that front. And then you go on the road to play, the Cardinals, the Raiders, who probably should not have won that game. Again, just poor management by Nate Hackett at the end of that contest. to put it into overtime. So you've got a Raiders team that, is feeling a lot better about itself, but still it does not look that great all season long. And then you get the home games. Again, you get them at home, Miami and Tennessee. Split those, and you feel pretty good about going to Denver, Colts on the road, and the Rams, whom I would not be surprised if they shut down Matthew Stafford for the rest of the season after back-to-back concussions. I don't. What are you doing? What's it worth? Doing that, and obviously they let go of Henderson. It's just almost like they're, all right, let's just flush this thing out, see what we can find on the back end of the roster, who might be a keeper, who might not be. So, 5-2 is absolutely realistic. They'll be favored. The Chargers will be favored in at least 5 games, and if you're favored, you should win.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my silver lining and I said it last week. Just get in, man. Just get in. Because Bosa's probably coming back in 2 weeks. That seems to be the feel. And this defense is going to look completely different with him. I mean, completely different with him. It's just they're getting very little pass rush opposite Khalil Mack, and they're loading up on Khalil, and it's hard. Morgan Fox is doing a great job of creating some pass rush, but I think you get Bosa back, and now you can put Bosa, Morgan, and Mack out there. Whew, now we're cooking. So
and how many times have we talked about Bosa against the run too? I mean, like
100%.
Losing him. I mean, you see all these big chunk plays that they're giving up in the run game. Bosa would wipe out a lot of those.
100%. Because a lot of them are that end is crashing.
Yeah.
Or whoever has contained on that side. It's typically Kenneth and Kyle Van Noy. Murray and Van Noy, it's just been an issue. A little bit of communication, a little bit of guessing wrong kind of stuff, and that doesn't happen with Bosa. And it's nothing against those guys, just Bosa's the best in the league. Like, there is no end that is better at diagnosing, containing run than Joey Bosa. So when you get that back, it really does change the calculus completely.
Before we get into the Cardinals, let's just dive into this AFC playoff picture. Our guy Henry, who watches the podcast all the time, he had a question. He said, "What's the path? What's your prediction?" And I think you just kind of outlined it. You think they can get to 10-7?
Yeah, 9-8's not going to get in.
Yeah, 9-8 won't get you in.
9-8 will not get you in. So, for me, what I'm looking at, we brought this up on the air too, DJ with DJ. To me, the path is probably the Jets and the Bengals. I think the Patriots are going to make it. That defense is really good, and I look at their remaining schedule.
Jamar
they got
Chase
the Cardinals
coming back this week, it sounds like, too.
Yeah. So I just mean for the Patriots, they're at 6 wins right now. They get the Cardinals, the Raiders at home, and then it's like, can they do to the Vikings tomorrow night? When we're recording this on Thanksgiving night, what the Cowboys did defensively and frustrate them. They get the Bengals at home, so that's a big one. So one of those two teams is going to get a loss from that game in particular. Then they get the Dolphins at home on January 1st in the cold. Let's see if Miami's as good in that kind of weather as they are on a fast track when it's warm out. And then they go to the Bills. So they've got a little bit of issues there. Okay, maybe. I feel like can they go 4-3? That looks a little bit more favorable to me than the Bengals. The Bengals have got a buzzsaw to deal with. At Titans, Chiefs at home, Browns with Deshaun Watson. Who knows how much different that's going to look. At Tampa, at New England, Bills at home, Ravens at home. I mean, that is...
They will have earned it. They will have earned it if
yes,
they get in.
If they can get to 10, they got to earn it. So, these are the 3 teams ahead of the Chargers right now. And then you got... the Jets, who are in the 8, so they're on the outside looking in. But I think, you've already got issues where he's benching Zach Wilson. They're looking for a scapegoat,
how do they
kind of thing.
Respond to that money? That's my thing. How will Mike White change what they do offensively? Because their defense is really good. They got the Bears
great.
Sunday. We don't really know. I mean, the Vikings are 8-2, but it looks a little shaky at this point.
But I'm saying the Jets. Like, you look at Dolphins, at Seahawks, at Bills, at Vikings. They can only lose 3. I think they're losing 4. So for me, you can jump those 2 teams, I think, and get into the 7. But you've got to go 5-2. And the good news is the Chargers right now are 4-3 in conference. The Bengals are 3-3. So perhaps they can just gain an advantage there and get that conference, number up. Because that's what it's going to come down to. Unless you're in division and you're fighting off the Broncos or the Raiders, which obviously they're not going to do, it's going to come down to conference record. That'll be your first tiebreaker.
Yep. And this Chiefs-Chargers series wrapped up before Thanksgiving, but who knows what happens over these next few weeks. If KC doesn't get the number 1 spot, they're sure as heck probably going to be number 2, and you may set up round 3 at Arrowhead, right?
Take it, man. Hey, look, it happened last year for the Rams, right? They lost the season. They got swept by the 49ers in the season series, won the NFC Championship, and went on to the Super Bowl. They won the one that counted.
Really hard to beat a team 3 times in a season.
That's what they always say. But, that's the other thing, too, is like, that's why I say just get in. I look at what's ahead of them. If they get in at the 7, as it stands right now, they would play the Dolphins in the first round. I'm not afraid of the Dolphins. Their defense has been abysmal all season long. And if Bosa's back and if Khalil Mack is back, I'm totally fine. Take on the Titans, great. Do they have enough offense? If Mike Williams and Keenan and the Chargers offense is at full, operational capacity, I don't know if they can score enough points to keep up with them. Obviously, the running attack can keep the offense off the field, but I don't need to get deep into all of that. What I'm getting at is they're all beatable.
Funny is that they're going to see them in December.
We're going to see
it. We'll see what it looks
like. With
Bosa, exactly. So I look at Indianapolis at 4-6-1. Had they beaten Philly, I would have said maybe look out for them, but they have a pretty difficult schedule, and I don't know if they can recover from 4-6-1 at this point.
I think the Chargers of all the teams have the best schedule. That's the thing. It's 2 3-win teams in the Broncos and Raiders. What are the Cardinals? 4 wins? 3 wins? What are they? I think they're 4 and 7. So you've got 2 3-win teams. You've got 1 4-win team. 2 4-win teams. Check that. Colts are. So you got 2 3-win teams, 2 4-win teams. Look at this. Now I got to correct myself again. 3 3-win teams. Rams, Raiders, Broncos. 3-win teams. You got those 3. You've got to get to 5 wins, and you've got 2 4-win teams. The Colts and the Cardinals. Win those games. Yep. Win against the teams that are sub 500 and have serious issues, and you will punch your ticket to the playoffs. Be healthy, and let's make a run.
It starts with the Cardinals. Take a quick break, and we'll talk about them. All right, guys, I want to tell you about Chargers Picks Now. The official LA Chargers Pick'em contest is where you predict the game outcomes for a chance to win a Chargers jersey. Check out the free-to-play Chargers Picks tab in the LA Chargers app to play. Also, introducing Ultimate Chargers. It's the free-to-play next-level fantasy football game. Open packs, collect players, pick your lineup, and crush the competition. Ultimate Chargers. Play now inside the LA Chargers app. So, Money, I thought I'd fire up my HBO Max for the first time in months and watch the Cardinals Hard Knocks.
I haven't watched it yet. How is it?
It's interesting. It's interesting, especially when you have a struggling team.
Right.
They started at Cliff's empty house. He's got an empty mansion, so we get a little tour there.
Okay.
But what I thought was interesting was they pretty much put on their projector. Cliff is like, listen, we have these 3 NFC West games to go. We win these 3. Or we win these next 2, we're in the mix, share first place Monday night in Mexico City. They lose to the Seahawks. They beat the Rams with Colt McCoy, and then we haven't seen the episode in Mexico City yet. So
which looks like a mess.
Listen, it's Hard Knocks, so you get a snapshot.
They have final say over what the Cardinals have final say over what gets released.
But they're an organization that's reeling right now, on and off the field. Their offensive line is a mess. The quarterback position is in flux as we tape this. I listened to Cliff Kingsbury's presser yesterday, which was Tuesday, and it sounds like Kyler is making progress and that he could go. Hollywood Brown could be back as well. But this is a team, man, that you mentioned. You have a coach that gets fired in Mexico City. The offensive line coach of all positions, the one where they're the leanest, I guess. They're terrible at home. They're like the worst home team in the NFL. They're 1-5, I guess 1-4, because I think the Mexico City game was a home game. So this is a game the Chargers have to go in and just take care of business, man. You have to go into Arizona, get to 6-5, and get ready for the Raiders. I don't think you can really do much if you can't beat the Cardinals on Sunday.
Yeah, and look, it's a completely different team with Kyler Murray. I know he hasn't had the best season, but, he still leads the team in rushing. And I think we know the issues that the Chargers have had, with stopping the run. I mean, he's averaged over 6 yards per carry. He's got a couple touchdowns. He's got a 42-yard run on the season. James Conner has kind of come back to earth after a great season last year. Sort of his career numbers, averaging just under 4 yards per carry. He's got the 4 touchdowns. He's got 0 big runs this year. So I think that's something that plays into the Chargers' hands. The one thing I'll say is, look, DeAndre Hopkins is still he is a mess to contend with, man. He's so good. He is so physical. He's very Keenan Allen-like, where he's as good a route runner, and he will break that thing off. And you see defensive backs just tumbling backwards 5-6 yards. And Colt McCoy is really effective at throwing those routes. That's one thing that stood out to me is, he's letting that ball go before, Hopkins is getting into that break, just trusting that he's going to be there, and he's always there. And when he catches it, he's getting an extra 4 or 5 yards because he's just that physical of a receiver. So, that's going to be one to keep an eye on. And like you said, Marquise Brown is super fast. So that then brings that element in. And obviously with the arm strength of Kyler is a lot different than Colt McCoy. So, if you look these last 2 for Colt, it's been just a ton of a lot of short throws and hoping for, that they can block them up and get yards after catch, and then just some intermediate routes. And most of the deep stuff is kind of back shoulder, comeback, sort of, hey, I'm going to throw this thing 15 yards downfield, just break it off, and it'll be there waiting for you, as opposed to go routes where he's pushing that thing. He just doesn't have the arm strength. So I think it changes so much because Kyler's got a strong arm. He's a tiny guy, but he can really push the ball. So, that's a big one. I think it changes a lot because, again, if you've got a weak offensive line, okay, well, now you've got one of the best, mobile quarterbacks in the league. I mean, he is fast. He can extend. He'll pirouette 3-4 times, keep a play alive, and just break your heart. So that'll be a big one. It'll be a much different approach if he plays versus Colt. Defense has been good. Actually, their defense has not been bad. They got some good players. Those 2 linebackers, Collins and Simmons, are really starting to come on. We know Buda's, one of the better safeties in the league. And Watt's actually having a little bit of a renaissance year. He's playing pretty well. So I think, I don't think their defense is getting enough credit because just, they're losing these games. They're getting blown off the field in a lot of these games. And a lot of it's just the offense hasn't been able to do anything, so their defense is getting tired. Sound familiar? So, I think, for me, it's a game I want to see the Chargers blow them out. I know it's hard to blow teams out in the NFL, because everybody's good. It's why most of these teams are, there's so much parity and so many teams jump up year to year. But, I mean, they got 44-21 to the Chiefs. They lost by 10 to the Seahawks, by 8 to the Vikings, by 10 to the Seahawks, by 28 to the 49ers, just
49ers
put
blew
these
that
guys
one
away.
Open. Yeah, they blew it open with their playmakers in the second half too, with Debo and Kittle, and the Chargers are going to have to do the same thing. They got the guys to make big splash plays against this defense. I do worry a little bit now that you mention it with Kyler, and they're reeling right now, and both teams need a response. Frankly, how are the Chargers going to respond to these back-to-back losses on primetime versus the Cardinals, whose season is really hanging by a thread now? Playoffs, even in the NFC, doesn't look like a possibility. But Kyler, is going to want to get back in there and show both the coaching staff and his teammates that he's the franchise guy. And, this could be the game where he does come back and try to make that statement against a Chargers team that really needs this one. And I look at the schedule money, Cardinals, Raiders, that's almost like you got to get that block to get to the next block of playoff contenders right now.
Dolphins, Titans, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of where we are right now. The AFC West out of reach at this point, getting swept by the Chiefs. So, it's almost like this first block, 2 non-playoff teams on the road. Never easy when you're on the road, but the Chargers have played pretty well traveling this year.
Look, the thing to, like you said, the Cardinals still have a chance to get right. It does not look like it's going to line up for them. But at the same time, the Raiders, it's going to be their Super Bowl. They're not getting in. But if they can screw the Chargers, it's going to be their, for the second year in a row, it's going to be a huge game for them. And we know, how much, Raider fans hate the Chargers, how much the Chargers hate them. It's Raider week, it's Charger week, in both of these towns. So that's going to be a high energy game. I think the difference is, and we've seen a little bit of an issue with the Chargers at some of these. I think the Arizona game is going to be a bring your own energy kind of game. I think there's just so much disappointment surrounding this team that started last year 10-0. You had the weird off season with the clause in the contract with Kyler, and then the PED suspension, DeAndre Hopkins, and just all the issues they had with two different coaches, dealing with sexual assault allegations or groping allegations. It's just been a big mess. Yeah. So I think the fans are turned off a little bit, and I think it's going to be a bring your own energy. Get up on these guys like you did Houston, and this time stay on top of them. Get up, stay up, and pack your bags early. Save some of that stress and sweat equity for the Raider game the following week, because you're going to need it.
Yeah, well said. Well said. It's a game. It's a weird game. It is a weird game when I look at it. 4-7. We don't know what the quarterback situation is as we tape this.
Right.
They have so many offensive linemen out. Their running game has been really inefficient. Yet they still have these playmakers on the outside that are fast. And, DeAndre Hopkins still among the best in football at what he does. So all it takes is a couple big plays from the Cardinals to keep them in games.
Right.
And, I feel like what we saw out of the Chargers offense, though, Money, we really saw what it's supposed to look like. And, hopefully they get good news on Mike. I don't know if Mike's going to be able to go or not Sunday.
Yeah. It was hard to tell from Staley's presser. He made it sound like he was fine. Made it sound like it was fine, but I don't know. Again, that could be game planning, just like Cliff was doing yesterday, saying, oh, yeah, he's getting better, because you want the team to have to plan for, put extra work in and do extra film and do extra assignment football, in practice. So I hope he's able to come back, because, man, that was a beautiful catch. It was such a quick reminder of, this guy's so freaking good.
These Clemson receivers, too. Have you seen
Right.
Mike and DeAndre
former
on the
teammates?
Field? Could be cool. It could be cool.
Yeah.
Kenneth Murray was teammates with Kyler Murray, too, if I'm not mistaken, at Oklahoma.
Absolutely, he was. I do quickly, because I got this through the Instagram from a listener, Jeremiah. There's an N on it. It looks like Jeremiah, but it's also Jeremiah Williams. Mr. Williams. Is the safety play on this team, particularly deep safety, hurting the defense more? Or is it the erratic play of the linebackers? And which is the more pressing need going forward? I think we talked about the deep safety, on that 3rd and 17. I know that Coach said that Derwin was man up on Kelsey on that game, that go-ahead touchdown, what ended up being the game-winning touchdown, but it certainly looked like he had outside leverage, and he thought Nas was going to be there to pick him up, and he wasn't, so that would speak to maybe some of the deep safety communication things going on. Linebacker, Kenneth went down, and Troy Reader made the play of the game, man. So stoked to see him get in there and punch that thing out and get a fumble right back after the Chargers fumble, which they cashed in for a touchdown to go up. So I think Drew's had a great year. Tranquil's had a really good year. So for me, the linebackers, I think Kenneth, in terms of there have been a couple issues here and there, but he's also had some really great splash plays as well. So I feel like the linebacker play's been pretty darn good. Yeah. If you're talking about the edge, we already got to that with some of the edge crashing on one side there, without Bosa and some of the stuff they're trying to clean up there. But, I think the deep safety stuff, there have been a couple angle issues, a couple big play issues. And I think, it's stuff they'll figure out. You got to get a pass rush, man. Otherwise, you're leaving those guys out there too long, and they're going to get roasted. And I think that's one of the issues, too, is getting Bosa back, getting a real pass rush on both sides, as opposed to letting teams just run away, double or chip Khalil, run the other direction, roll the other direction, and you're fine. And now you're just keeping those guys out there too long and expecting them to hold coverage and stuff is really hard.
One of the cool things about SoFi Stadium is when you leave your seat, I can still hear you and DJ at different parts of the press box and different parts of the stadium. And I think it was Kelsey's second touchdown. People see Kelsey's numbers and they automatically think Derwin was responsible for all of this. You guys had a stat. He had one catch for 3 yards. This was maybe entering the fourth quarter.
He had 2 touchdowns, 61 yards. All other cover, people that were covering him. Derwin 1 catch, 3 yards.
Yeah.
So that's
it's pretty good. It's pretty,
right.
I heard another podcast saying like, "Oh, Kelsey abused it all pro." It's like, well, you didn't see the game then.
Yeah, you got him on the one play, and I think I tried to bait Coach, and he wouldn't bite on Tuesday when we talked to him, or what's today, Wednesday. So when we talked to him on Monday, and I just said, Coach, we're right above your sideline, and I could see you, we're really upset with the officials after the what looked to be offensive pass interference on Marquez Valdez-Scantling on Callahan, and it was right in front of you, and it was right in front of that official, and they didn't throw the flag. I said, I'm not asking you to comment on that, but what I'm asking is, you've got that, and it's like hey, we're letting him play. It's final drive, okay, and now you're going to throw the flag on Derwin for that hold.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that blatant of a hold. It was pretty close to still being within 5 yards. Kelsey had got his fingers right into Derwin's collar on that big Pacheco run, and they didn't throw that flag. And it's like, okay, well, they're letting him play, fine. And then you throw the flag on that on a 3rd and 4, and it's just like, that's and Coach's response is kind of exactly what I was going for, and that is just be consistent, man. If you're going to let these guys fight and you're going to let them play all game, then do it. Don't change. And I know it's one guy, one side versus the field guy, field judge on the other side, but it's like you can't do that. You cannot swallow the flag or tuck the flag. It'd be swallow the whistle. You can't tuck the flag on that offensive pass interference on MVS and then throw the flag on Derwin 4 plays later. Either they're both getting flagged or neither are getting flagged, and that's just I was a little upset by that.
Yeah. Hey, it's. I expect fans to be frustrated by being 5-5 at this point, but also look at it this way: you're in the playoff picture, right? And like you said, just get in. I thought that this team played valiantly against the Niners and Chiefs. I mean, there's no moral victories. Close, like Derwin said in the locker room, close isn't good enough. Close is not good enough. And there's a lot of close games last year that precluded them from getting in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But now you have an opportunity with 7 games remaining to get into the tournament. And Justin Herbert, this is his 3rd year in the NFL. He's got to get in the tournament. And if you get him a shot, who knows what the heck can happen, especially against some of these teams that you mentioned, Money. Like, I'm not – like, listen, if you go to Buffalo in a snowstorm, that's tough. It's going to be real tough. But
even still, I'm still confident in this team. Like I think that's the key. Last year it felt like there was some separation, but this year I just feel like this team at full strength can hang with anyone.
I've seen Justin march into Arrowhead and win. I've seen him keep it close in pretty much every game against Patrick
Drew Brees,
Mahomes.
New Orleans, Tom Brady, Tampa, like just from his rookie year on. Yeah. And I think that's the thing that I would assume for Justin has got to be frustrating. Although I don't get the sense he really pays attention. But if he did, see, another one gets away from Herbert with the interception at the end. It's like, dude, the guy gave his team a 4-point lead with 106 seconds left. That's enough.
The interception at the end, enough. I mean, you're trying to make a play.
Yeah.
Like, what do you like?
Exactly.
I mean, come on. So I don't know. I just think there's, as frustrating as some of these losses are, I get it. There's things that have not gone the way that I think people have envisioned. But still, you got 2 more coming up against non-playoff teams that can get you to 7-5. And then you reset again against the Dolphins and Titans at home. And
I think it's I think, you know what, Chris, I don't mean to interrupt, sorry.
No,
just the way I think for the fans, like at this point, to me, it truly is just a week to week. It's like we gotta look at them like the players do and like the coaches do. I think it is a 1 week, 1 win. 1 week, 1 win. It's not, hey, if we beat the Raiders, and I was guilty of it earlier. Hey, look, we got these 4 on the road and these 3 at home, and these are 3-win teams. I think it is just a get healthy, make sure that game plan is right, make sure that 3rd quarter is right. Keep doing the things you're doing that are working in the first half. Don't get away from them. So to me, it really is a focus on the Cardinals. Got to win this game. Have to win this game. And then the following week, focus on the Raiders. Have to win that game. Absolutely have to win that game. I'm looking at the Raiders right now. The Cardinals are coming off a short week. They're beat to hell. There is a ton of turmoil inside that organization right now. Win that game.
What do you need to see, game. Money, Sunday? What do you need to see from the Chargers?
I told you, I want to see a blowout. I want to see them blow this team out. And I know that does not happen a lot. But I'd love to see this team be able to build a lead and hold it. And just don't adjust the way you play. Keep pushing, man. Foot on the gas. All those explosive plays in the first half disappeared in the second. And I just want to see them continue. I want to see aggressive Brandon Staley. I want to see fourth and under one, on your own 34. Go. It's what you do, man. It's your identity. It's this team's identity. Go. Don't punt. I just want to see a little bit more gas, a little bit less break. I think is kind of what I'm getting at. More aggressive defense. 3rd and 17 we talked about. To hell with that, man. Get up on these guys. Press them. Blitz. Just more aggression. It just feels like when they play on their heels or when they try to play conservatively, it goes horribly wrong. When they're aggressive, feels like it goes great. That's what happened in that Atlanta game. That's the most aggressive I'd seen this defense all year. Same with the 49er game in that first half. Man, they were getting after it. Yeah. I think that's just, to me, that's the key. I want to see an aggressive defense, an aggressive offense, and I'd love to see that, 2-touchdown advantage in the first half and just be able to keep your, foot on their throats and go get it.
60 minutes, right? From start to finish, I think is what I'd like to see, because we talked about the first quarter struggles that they found a way to kind of fix. Now we're seeing the second half struggle. Put it all together. Like you said, Houston, they got up, but they let them back in.
Right.
60 minutes. Play 60 minutes of
They haven't blown a team out yet.
No.
They started to. What were they up 24-0 in Houston? And that thing got to be a one-score game, and Houston had a chance to take the lead. Just blow a team out. You're good enough. Go blow a team out. You got back-to-back 3-7 teams right now. The Cardinals and the Raiders are 3-7. Go blow this first 3-7 team out. Get that swagger. Get those good vibes back in the locker room. And on the flight home from a Thanksgiving weekend that you got to cut short because you got to travel to Arizona on Saturday, it just feel good, man. Feel good going into Vegas. Just in case the Raiders are able to beat the Seahawks up in Seattle and win 2 in a row and feel like they got a little bit of swagger, just freaking get the win, blow them out and feel like, okay, we got this now. Keenan's back, Mike's back, Herbert's back from the rib injury. We cannot be stopped. Yeah. Let's go get it. That's what I'd really like to see.
Yep. Before we go, Cameron Dicker, man, let's go, right?
Look, I said it during the game. I think did I say it on the air? I might have said it when we were in commercial break. I think I said it to DJ in commercial. And I'm not pulling a LeBron here, pretending like I did something that I didn't.
But was it? Yeah. All right. So for those who don't know, you saw the thing where he said, "Oh, I knew Kobe was going to go for 81."
So I was, I think were you working with the Lakers then too? I was working with the Lakers then. Nobody knew he was going for 81.
My first year was the year after. So
I was working with the Lakers then. I think, Kobe was having a great year. It's the same year he had 60 in 3 quarters. But to think, this is the game. He had 30 the game before, 28 the game before. It's oh yeah, he's going to go for 81. Yeah, thanks LeBron. Yeah. He does that all the time. Thought he invented Taco Tuesday. Thought he invented the barbershop talk television show. God. He's out of his mind. But where was I at?
Oh, sorry.
I said that's okay. No, I said to DJ, I said, you know what? I said, if you because they had no more flex ups from the practice squad. I said, if you let Dicker go down, he's getting claimed. He's too good of a kicker. He's way too good of a kicker. All of his kickoffs go out of the back of the end zone. The ball explodes off his foot. You can tell mentally he's got it. I love the slow walk. Just after he makes a kick, he doesn't do some huge Martin Gramatica style celebration. He's just like, well, yeah, that's what I'm supposed to do. So, all right, yeah, high five for you, whatever. I'm just going to go back over here. So I said with Hopkins having a quad or a hammy, I don't want to play with that. I do not want to play with that and have to dig back into the, what kickers are out there. It's exactly what I said to him. I was like, dude, I just throw him on the IR. Just put him on the IR. See if he can get fully healthy and roll with Dicker, because to be honest, and not taking a shot at Dustin, it's just what the numbers say. Dicker's been better. Just he has not missed a kick yet. All of his kickoffs, like Dustin's, are out of the back of the end zone, which is a huge, important part of this, and one of the reasons why Hopkins is so valuable, because that's a big, big deal to have someone that has that big of a leg. But I just feel like this guy looks like he's nails. Like he is And you got to remember, this is a team that watched Lambeau go to the Jags and be the best kicker of the year, watched Younghoe Koo go to the Falcons, be the best kicker of the year. And prior to that, they had Carlson in for a workout before ultimately they went in a different direction and he signed with the Raiders, and he's not one of the best kickers in the league. It's like, Tom, you've got a good eye for this. Let's see if, you got a guy who's got a hamstring. You cannot mess with that. So just throw him on IR, let him get 100% healthy, and then when he's ready to come off IR in 4 weeks, have a competition and see how you feel about it. Or maybe Dicker will just win the job.
Dustin was heroic in Denver.
Unbelievable.
Bertolette,
unbelievable effort.
Bertolette, unbelievable in Cleveland. Reason they won the game. But Dicker, he won me over in Atlanta, and then he's just done nothing but make his kicks. And let's give some credit. Let's give some credit to Ryan Ficken, man, for
100%.
what he's done with that special teams group. Like this is the third phase of the game that has plagued the Chargers over the last several years. And I really feel like he's kind of turned things around there, stabilized it, and it's not something you really have to worry about on a weekly basis.
100%.
Yeah.
Completely agree. Special teams has not been a concern at all. You got I don't care what the gross numbers are and where JK falls into that category. Net yards and return yards. His return yards are the best in the league. Nobody's able to return any of his punts because, typically he's either getting a great bounce if they're low and they don't want to field him, or he's got incredible hang time and they're just fair catch. And his net number's fine. His net number, I think, is 41 something. So great. Take it. Absolutely take it. And again, like we said, it doesn't matter. If it's Hopkins, heroic against Denver. If it's Bertolette, heroic against Cleveland. If it's Dicker, heroic against Atlanta, and kicked his tail off against San Francisco and Kansas City, making everything. And those were long kicks against Kansas City. Those were not bunnies. Those were 47s and 46s, and those are big kicks. And those are kicks that look like they'd be good from 60. He's got a big old leg, man. Yeah. And so I'm stoked. Because, like we said, very rarely are there blowouts, even though I just called for one in Arizona. A lot of times it does come down to that kicker. And, man, I feel super confident about that guy.
Well, I think Chargers fans hoping Dicker's just kicking PATs on Sunday.
100%. Let's do that, man. Make all those.
A blowout win. Money's calling it, right?
100%. Blowout. I want a blowout. Blowout. John Travolta, blowout.
Blowout.
Yeah, terrible movie, by the way. Don't watch that.
All right, watch. So you've learned that.
Actually, you know what? Blowout's pretty good. I was thinking of something else. I was thinking of the aerobics movie. I don't remember what that was called.
Teen Wolf over Blowout? What do we go?
Teen Wolf, absolutely. People, if you've never seen it, watch Teen Wolf, just for the worst athletic performance by an actor in the history of film.
Oh, fantastic. Happy Thanksgiving, man. Enjoy it with the
Thanksgiving.
family. Yep. I'll see you on Saturday as we head to Arizona. Always appreciate you guys listening, watching. Happy Thanksgiving. For Money, I'm Chris. This has been Chargers Weekly.